And we're back with part three, and in part two we were discussing how race was became a major part of the Trayvon Martin case. A lot of people, in my opinion, gave it a lot of backlash in the beginning because it was a person of another race killing, a person of color, and which you often see, which kind of contradicts, the whole hate crime thing, because a hate crime is, in my opinion, every crime. If you kill somebody,
That's a hate
that's
crime.
you hate them. I mean, pretty sure you do. But like I and Wiz was saying, I believe that race does have a point in certain things. In my opinion, the Trayvon Martin case involves race because it was a black man that was shot, and it just wasn't a black man shot. Black people get shot every day. Not trying to say anything smart, but they're like, okay, was George Zimmerman right for taking this young man down because he could have been a hoodlum? And that's what I think people are saying. That's why in my opinion, I think that the case was so long drawn out, because they're well, was he a hoodlum? Was he a thug? Or was he a nice young man that just got caught up in something? And that's what I think that they're saying. So
Yeah,
what
and
do you
I
think?
and once again, like I said in part one, like I don't think it mattered. Like I said, Trayvon could have been, the most hood black guy you ever met. He could be what you know what people deem as America's nightmare. And I'm not saying that that a black man is America's nightmare, but because there are white American nightmares. Anybody can be. There are
Them neo
different.
Nazis,
Yeah,
boy,
there's
it's
a lot of
crazy.
things that are America's nightmare, but Trayvon could have been the absolute worst case scenario. But in this situation, why does that matter? That does not mean that he deserves for someone else, for a human, to take his life. I think that's a decision that only our maker should be able to make. And no human being, period, should be able to justify someone else losing their life at any point in time, ever. And
Very good point.
I think where this is going to go is that um, there's going to be a lot of this put on the African American community. But what I want to do is I want to issue a challenge not just to the African American community, but to the American public. Um, what people fail to realize is that racism does not. Well, racism develops from misunderstanding. So racism is not just something that we see that is acted out towards African Americans. It's acted out towards Asians, Hispanics, and even whites.
Native
There are
Americans.
Native Americans. There are a lot of I know plenty of African Americans who are quote unquote racist. You hear them say bad things about you hear them say how they feel about white people or Asian people or whatever. So I mean, my challenge to the American people is that understand that racism develops from misunderstanding, and as African Americans, we can come together and we can march and we can protest all you want. That doesn't cure the racism. It got us to where we are now, and that's a great thing. It broke the barrier. It got us to a point where African Americans now have the same, or are in position to have the same opportunities as everybody else.
Right, right.
But in order to you know to abolish some of the racism, and I say some of it because unfortunately you're always going to have racism, um, especially in a nation like America where there are different ethnicities who have to coincide together, who have to cohabitate. But in order to truly put a dent in the racism that we experience in America today, it's going to take more than just African Americans. It's going to take more than just one community, one set of ethnicity. It's going to take more than just that. It's going to take more than just us going out and protesting and marching and boycotting. What it's going to take is it's going to take, because when you have that, you have a large group of individuals who come together, but then individuals who are not involved feel like they don't have a duty to do so. Oh, where they're marching, they're protesting, I don't have to do anything. I can just stand back and support.
Mm-hmm.
But what it's going to take is every individual is going to have to take upon themselves to take on a mission to do what they can to do away with racism.
Take their responsibility.
Right.
Yeah.
I put a challenge on everybody in America. Every day that you wake up and leave your house, I feel like you should make an effort to connect with someone who is different than you are in any kind of way. It doesn't every day, it doesn't have to be someone of a different race, but someone who was raised differently than you, someone who had a different background than you have. Regardless of the race, take upon yourself to connect and get to understand someone that's different than you are every day, somebody new, whether they be Hispanic, whether they be African American, whether they be Caucasian, whether it's another African American or another Caucasian who grew up in a different situation that you did. You might have grown up rich, they may have grown up poor. You may have grown up poor and they grow up rich, whatever, vice versa. But take the opportunity to not necessarily get to know them, but understand them, ask them, connect with them, figure out a little bit about them, because that then will help cure some of the racism, because now you don't have that misunderstanding, you don't have that stereotype, and that's where stereotypes come from, misunderstandings.
And there will be no Trayvon Martin. It would be no Trayvon Martin. I mean, I've had a job where I was going door to door. I've had people pull a gun out on me. You know what I'm saying? I got on a big AT&T shirt, you know what I'm saying, just selling TV. And, they don't know what's going on. I mean, like, because from the media standpoint, like I am Wiz said, from the standpoint of what you see as negative, that's all you see. And maybe that's what George Zimmerman saw. So and like he said, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Like, that was great. You know what I'm saying? Because if everybody takes responsibility to have an understanding, the world will be better.
Yeah.
It's not about just getting along, but at least having an understanding.
Yeah, and then we don't have the Trayvon Martins, but more importantly, we don't have the George Zimmermans if we do that. Not saying that George Zimmerman is a terrible person, but George Zimmerman, acted on ignorance There were a lot of things that he did not know that he acted upon, and if we take it upon ourselves as every individual to connect with everybody around us, regardless of race, social status, background, then you don't have George Zimmerman, because then George Zimmerman, you don't have the people who profile, who prejudge. And if you don't have George Zimmermans, you don't have Trayvon Martins, or you don't have Trayvon Martins that end up, we don't have young males, African American, white, whatever, we don't have them meeting the same fate that Trayvon Martin met. And another thing is that it's an unfortunate situation for George Zimmerman. That man will never be able to lead a normal life ever again. And a lot of people are saying that George Zimmerman got off, but what you guys have to realize is that he was found not guilty by humans, and our true judge is still has to hand down his verdict. And if you think about it, Trayvon Martin sits in heaven with God, and George Zimmerman is here to experience hell on earth. So,
and if you think he got off, I mean, look at OJ, look at Chris Brown. Like, you're never really off, especially if it's something that you did.
Right.
So I mean, don't have that assumption that was it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
So, that's me speaking out. I wish, I want everybody to comment on this video. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at IamWiz, EYEAMWIZ. Tell me what you think. I'm
gonna put it in the description box.
Cool. Let's start the dialogue. Let's get everybody talking about this. Let's get this notion taken care of, and let's make sure that this doesn't have to happen again, that we don't have to have this discussion anytime later.
There you go. Well, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Like he said, I put his information in the description box below. I'm Too Tall Show.
I Am Wiz.
We out.